Part question, it's all relevant, I'll be very brief, but my understanding from what I read of the ordinance is that WIC users and EBT users are not supposed to be charged for the bag, they're supposed to be given the bag free of charge. Is that the wrong ordinance that I read? Because it's on the website.
No, it turns out that there are differences, and now I'm getting into law that I don't understand clearly, between SNAP and WIC.
Well, there was two, there was A and B, A was WIC, B was SNAP.
And the differences have to do, I believe with SNAP, that is, you're not allowed to, stores are not allowed to treat SNAP customers any different than regular customers, so the law prevented us from enabling the exception that WIC customers could have in the way of having to pay for the paper bags.
Okay, so the second part is that the stores, I've been talking to them, and they told me that they're under strict directives from City Council to charge the food stamp card for the bags, which is fraud. And I have actually contacted federal investigators and investigators for the state of Oregon, and they have assured me that this is called fraud. All the stores are going to be contacted, and they're going to be forced to return the money and pay penalty fines, which I'm assuming then they'll turn around and sue the city. So then it's just another debt on the taxpayers. And the third part I had was, did you guys take into consideration the disabled and people living in poverty that will never be able to get it together to take their bags because they can't even get their kids' homework turned in? The disabled people that maybe have memory problems, that we're taxing the poorest people in our population. And the only people that are pretty much going to take their bags every time is pretty much white middle class, and that seems to be what Corvallis wants to only have in their town. Did you guys consider that at all?
Well, we tried to consider the lower income customers when we were dealing with things like WIC and SNAP. As disabled customers, that's a good question that we don't have an answer for. John?
No, just a quick statement there. This doesn't solve the problem. We have a solid waste problem. These damn full bags are a very small part of it. From what I read when all this was going on, it's less than 1%, about 0.5%.
1/100 of 1%.
Okay, whatever. All right. Well, the thing
Makes
is,
it smaller, John.
yeah. Well, okay. So all you've done, all the city council have done, is irritate a lot of people.
Yeah.
And it's like, come on.
Audience, I'm here to tell you, if we'd had this discussion in other audiences, it would have been a very different kind of response, because yes, excuse me, I am, biting my tongue. So, the gentleman in the back that had his hand up earlier.
I really don't care one way or another on the bag, but it seems to me we have an issue of governance here. And we have city governments, county governments, state governments, federal government that deal with problems related to their scope and size and things. This one worries me because I don't think it's city council job to worry about this kind of issue. Where does it stop? Is it next week you say, I'm going to tell you what kind of dishwashing soap and things you can do because it goes down the drain and into the river and into the ocean?
I think that's already being done.
So, I think there's plenty of things for the city council to do to avoid issues like this. They may be problems, and I agree with Catherine on this, they have to be addressed, but it's being addressed at the wrong level, by the wrong group.
I have to be careful because I'm real passionate about this in my own way, but I'm yes, anyway, how it came about that it was plastic bags, not plastics, because from everything I've read, it's plastics that are the issue, and that plastic bags are the small part. And why wasn't it looked at what we can do with those bags, how we can encourage or change? I am not a single-use person. I reuse my bags, whether it be for my animals, wrapping packages, things inside, donating them to the thrift store or that, and have wondered why we aren't able to recycle them a way of recycling them, it doesn't make sense to drive to recycle them or drive them back to the store. If I'm gonna drive them back to the store, I'm probably reusing them anyway. That we went from one extreme to the other. And then to add into this, when we talk about the stores, some stores aren't providing any bag. Kmart has run out more than once. Or some of the stores, the bag is a grocery size bag and it's kind of hard to buy clothing and stuff it in this little bag kind of thing. It just seems like we jumped. And another thing to add to that is you talk about people from Corvallis coming to the council. From what I was reading, it was people from outside Corvallis
The bag lady was.
that were coming
Mary.
and then coming back and saying, wow, everybody's so happy. Well, gosh, nobody in line with me at the grocery store was happy. But really, my big thing is what I want to place. What made the decision to narrow it to this and not say, let's find ways to recycle, reuse, educate people?
So to answer that question,
Right,
that was
okay.
part of the data that the city staff was gathering and
Okay.
reports that we received of various other experiences and cities that had put tremendous effort into doing recycling and substantial amount of money into doing recycling, had managed to get the recycling up to, if I remember the number, on the order of 14–15%. So it was not a substantial improvement from the 7 or 8 that seemed to be the norm from around. So the idea of doing recycling would not have a big impact on single-use plastic bags.
And I'll discuss some of that when I get it.
Okay.
Yeah, but that was what we were dealing with and looking at. But yes,
Just two more
recycling was on the agenda.
It's referred to as a single-use bag. No plastic bag that comes into my house is a single-use. I do not buy single-use bags. The only single-use bags I'm aware of are the ones that people go and buy to put their garbage in, and they're really heavy-duty, and then they throw them away. They've been used one time, they're gonna take much longer to decompose, and they're thrown away. So why aren't we banning the sale of all of these single-use bags? When in fact, the ones at the grocery store hand out get used in hundreds of ways.
The goal was to get
No
people to
answers.
use reusable bags rather than use the plastic bag twice. And that was, we were looking at the highest volume of bags, and I don't know your situation, if you managed to use all of your single-use plastic bags, but even when I was reusing, what's that?
I don't buy
Well,
single-use
that you
bags.
use the grocery bags that you were getting, and I never found I was able to, using them for trash bags and other storage things and the like. I still kept having to take them down to recycling as they built up to a big
Maybe you don't have enough kids.
Or dogs.
Maybe
Oh, my
those
God.
income that allows you to purchase these expensive throwaway bags.
So, one last question.
The point is, these things are recyclable. Fred Meyer has a bin, there's a big bin out at Allied Waste. Why don't you just put around more bins? Require these stores that use these plastic bags to have these recyclable bins, so we can recycle them more friendly.
They do.
As I said a minute ago, with looking at this and trying to figure out which way to go with what was being asked of us as council, we looked at recycling programs in other cities, and the data we were getting was that they weren't working. So,
They're being reused.
This is, you can't have it, you can't have it. This is my Safeway bag that I saved and put in my garbage can.
A comment on that, we're actually getting plastic bags brought to us from Portland.
Other towns, right?
Right,
And the Winco, I think Winco always had a place where you could put your plastic bags there to recycle too.
They all.
And it's a good thing to put your pump cans in, or whatever you want to be carrying around. And I have got some of these. This one is made in China. This one is made in China.
Oh, go China. Yeah, let's support China.
Isn't that called shop local?
Yeah, shop local.
Quite a few years ago, somebody took all kinds of plastic and made me placemats out of the plastic. So there's a variety of things. You'll find out there's a variety of things.
It's a placemat made out of cardboard.
It's a placemat and it's made out, even the plastic sacks you have in your bread, the bread